So for the dialogue, the hub on the dialogue, we are going to look at how you can optimize dialogues in organizations. And this is important because everything that you do in organizations, the fundamental tool you're using is dialogue. So if you can optimize that, you optimize everything from decisions making to yeah, everything. And we're gonna give a brief introduction on some of the tools that we teach for this. And it's very nice to think about like how you can improve your quality of listening, how you can come to a place where you dare to speak what you can see, even if you have no guarantees of whether it's true or not, but like you have to share your viewpoint and what you see from the place that you stand, because that's a gift to the group. You have to be able to build on other people's suggestions. Many times you see dialogues that's like this entrenchment, like everybody's proposing something and shooting other people things down. Very unproductive. It's nice to be able to build on other people's proposals. And then you also have to have the capacity to stand back and take a broader perspective and say, are we even discussing the right things? Sometimes you can be very engaged in discussions, and if you take a step back, you go, this is actually not important for us to discuss. We don't need to use that much time on it. And so deepening the awareness of what you're doing in dialogue and what optimizes the chances of your dialogue being really productive. That's the kind of things that we're going to do in the first hub.
Brilliant, excellent. And you're also involved in another hub. So tell us about this second hub.
Yes. So the second hub is the well-being hub. And in brief, you can say if people aren't thriving at work, they get sick more, they leave more, and sick leave is expensive. Hiring new people is very expensive, and you want to avoid that. You want people to be happy, because if they're happy at work, they're going to be productive, they're more likely to be innovative, come up with ways of improving the business, and so on. So, super important. Well being is super important. And fortunately, from cognitive science, we know a lot about what are the kind of behaviors that improves well-being. So, for example, physical well-being, sleep, exercise, very important. And in some corporate culture, it's almost seen as cool not to sleep. Very bad idea. It reduces cognitive capacities. It reduces people's retention of learning. It reduces their capacity to innovate, and there's a whole bunch of it lowers your immune system, so people get more sick and so on. On a individual level, like personal individual level, there's a lot of knowledge about how to get into flow states by balancing skills and challenges. There's a lot of knowledge about how to identify people's signature strengths, the kind of virtues that are native to individuals, and if you can optimize the possibility of using those at work, you're much more likely to be brilliant at work, you're much more likely to be super productive, and you're much more likely to be satisfied and happy. If you use a lot of them, you're even likely to perceive your job as a calling. And then there's, of course, other areas such as social well being, financial well being. And so we're going to look a little bit at these different areas, and then we're going to look at how can organizations set up an environment that supports people in engaging in the kind of behavior that increase their well-being. So for example, if we know certain behavior increase well-being, it's important to make that behavior attractive by having a culture that sees it as valuable. It's important to be rewarded for that behavior, and it's important to make the behavior possible and easy to engage in. So these are the kind. So how do we do? If we know these behaviors make increase well-being, how do we set up the culture and the physical environment and the organizational routines in such a way that it supports that kind of behavior? That's the kind of stuff that we're going to be talking about.
Fantastic. And what's it like being able to come to a festival or an event in person outside in a place like this?
It's amazing. I love it. My first time here, and it's such a nice place. The all the green, all the, and we've been fortunate with the weather, and yeah, I really like it. It's very different than sitting in an enclosed space at a in the normal lecture hall or something like that. And I think having a different environment like that is very good for inspiring new ideas, new conversations. So I really I find that this is a setting that really supports well-being, and I think it also supports good dialogue. So it's good for both of the hubs.